Welcome to Sir Puffcat. I came to Squad by way of Project Reality, and the dots just never connected, cursed by having seen the light. So when I dove headfirst into the Squad ICO playtests, I felt like I was having to learn two games at once, the new overhaul mechanics and the already steep initial Squad learning curve. So the goal of this video is to relate to newcomers the 4 trickiest things on the vanilla Squad learning curve that you must learn. The faster you pick some of the stuff up, I think the sooner you'll be able to get to the layers of gameplay that the Infantry Overhaul really gets at. First main thing is uniform identification. Recognizing friend from foe has been probably the hardest thing to learn. For some factions, it still hasn't clicked for me yet. Your first dozen games of Squad will have you paranoid and confused about whether the guy in your sights is good or bad. You will commit digital fratricide. There's really no way around it. You have to learn to distinguish uniforms at a glance. And the faster you get it, the more confident you can be when you're the one that opens fire. Asset design in Squad is pretty faithfully modeled after their real-world counterparts, and pretty much all modern forces have seen their gear go through some sort of convergent evolution. I'm not yet at the point where I can recognize silhouettes alone, but a good place to start is learning the slight differences in color and the different shapes of helmets. This might not work for everyone, but when I started, I only played Op4. My logic was, being American, I could more easily recognize US uniforms. One of the changes in the ICO is reduced visibility of name tags that show up when you hover over a friendly. They now don't show through walls, and they don't appear as fast or as far away. So that leaves you with two options. Shoot and see which language they yell in, or bring up the map and try and suss out if there's friendlies in the area. Flash checking your minimap becomes a skill that's relevant to this exact point. In my opinion, a good SL will have his face in the map so that the others can keep their eyes up, but everyone can relay in local comms, hey, friendlies to the east. Use your ears. Squad has pretty excellent sound design, and it can be pretty intuitive. All rifles in the game sound different. As the distance between you and the shot increases, the sound changes subtly. You'll want to get to the point to where you can tell who was shooting and approximately how far away they were.
Looks like they're actually capping.
As you run around, it's a good idea to have a sense for whether you're walking into 5 AKs against 1 M4 or 5 M4s against 1 AK. One of the key aspects of this is using your left and right speakers or headphones. You can triangulate the direction a distant shot is coming from. I originally thought this was cheesy, kind of a gamey exploit, but the more I thought about it, it's actually legit. The human ear actually does this naturally. When a sound to your front right hits your ears, it hits one eardrum a fraction of a second earlier, and the other eardrum hears that same sound only after it passes through your head. Our brains interpret this automatically, and you can replicate it by, when you're scanning your head at a sound, paying attention to when it's equally as loud in both of your ears. Watching your lines. This one's easy to learn and hard to master. It probably deserves its own video because out of all the things on the list, it definitely has the highest skill ceiling. Knowing your lines means being acutely aware of what you can see versus what can see you. It's something that you need to be keyed into because the better you get at it, the higher your KDR will be. Just flat out. The simplest way to describe it is restricting enemy lines of sight on you while maximizing your own lines of sight. The best case scenario for this is using a window. By pulling back a couple feet from the window, you can sidestep left to right and use that narrow portal to scan your kill zone. Opposed to, if you stick your head out of the window, you're now exposed to 180 degrees of lines of sight, and that's just too many bushes to watch. Start to think of exposure in this way as you move around the map. Why walk in the middle of a road and expose yourself to both sides of the rooftops when you can hug one of the walls and limit exposure to rooftops only on the opposite side of the street? As it turns out, not being seen and getting to shoot first is pretty OP. Key bindings and mouse. Squad has a float of keybinds. Your stances, your bipod, switching firing modes, setting firing ranges for zeroing, switching optics zoom, local, squad, command, and squad direct comms, your mini-map, your big map, your radial menu, your SL radial menu. Spend some time toying around with your bindings. Play a few rounds with it, then revisit the control section and give it a massage. Squad still plays pretty fast, even after the ICO. You want your settings to be as intuitive as you can get it. In addition to that, I cannot play this game without a mouse that has on-the-fly DPI binding. I use being able to switch between normal mouse speed and a slower speed really makes a difference in those long-range shots. If you really want to reach out and touch someone at 250 meters, a little finesse goes a long way. Thanks for watching. If so inclined, you can reach out and touch that like button. Or maybe even jump down in the comment section and remind me that I'm a mouth-breathing mongoloid and am completely unqualified to be giving other noobs advice.